Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood today. His name alone guarantees media attention, his movies often debut at the top of the box office, and his brand as a global superstar extends far beyond film. From professional wrestling to motivational Instagram posts, Johnson has built an empire around himself. To many, he is the ultimate modern action hero, strong, charismatic, and larger than life. But popularity and fame are not always the same as talent or artistry. The fact that The Rock is everywhere does not automatically mean he is one of the greatest actors of our generation. In truth, he is often overrated, more of a celebrity brand than a true performer. The Rock's rise to Hollywood stardom is undeniably impressive. Starting as a wrestling icon, he made a seamless transition to film and quickly became one of the most bankable stars in the industry. Audiences loved his charm and physical presence, and studios knew his name on a poster guaranteed ticket sales. Yet, beneath the surface of this success lies a much more uncomfortable truth. His actual acting range is extremely limited. Johnson rarely plays characters with depth, nuance, or emotional complexity. Instead, he repeats the same formula over and over: a tough, muscle-bound hero with a mix of one-liners, action stunts, and light comedy. This lack of variety creates a paradox. On one hand, The Rock is undeniably entertaining. He has screen presence, comedic timing, and a charisma that can carry a blockbuster. But those qualities alone don't make someone a great actor. Acting is about disappearing into roles, transforming into different people, and making audiences believe in the character rather than the performer. When audiences watch Daniel Day-Lewis, Christian Bale, or even Hugh Jackman, they see characters with emotional range, depth, and transformation. When audiences watch The Rock, they almost always see The Rock. His brand overshadows the role. It's never really a character, it's just Dwayne Johnson in another scenario. Whether that's driving fast cars, fighting jungle animals, or saving the world yet again. Another part of the problem lies in how Hollywood markets him. Studios treat The Rock as a guaranteed box office machine. Scripts are often designed around him, not around storytelling. He doesn't adapt to the movie adapts to him. This makes him feel less like an actor and more like a franchise in human form. He's not cast because he is the perfect fit for a character. He's cast because his name alone will bring audiences to theaters. That might be good business, but it's bad for art. This introduction sets the stage for a deeper argument. While The Rock is undeniably popular and successful, those qualities don't make him a great actor. In fact, they often hide the truth that his range is limited, his roles repetitive, and his performances rarely leave a lasting impact. In the sections that follow, we'll look at the specific reasons why Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is one of the most overrated actors in Hollywood today. One of the clearest reasons The Rock is overrated as an actor is that he almost always plays the same kind of role. Whether it's Fast and Furious, Jumanji, San Andreas, or Black Adam, his characters are nearly identical. The tough, muscle-bound hero who delivers one-liners, faces impossible odds, and saves the day. The settings may change. Sometimes he's driving cars, sometimes running through jungles, sometimes fighting supervillains, but the personality never really does. This creates the feeling that audiences aren't watching new characters, but simply watching Dwayne Johnson over and over again in slightly different costumes. This repetition has less to do with story needs and more to do with brand management. Johnson has carefully built an image of himself as unstoppable, charming, and inspirational. Because of this, he avoids roles where he might appear weak, vulnerable, or morally conflicted. But it is precisely those qualities, vulnerability, failure, complexity, that usually make for the most powerful performances. Other action stars have dared to step outside their comfort zones. Arnold Schwarzenegger played both a terrifying villain and a heroic protector in the Terminator films. Sylvester Stallone, as Rocky Balboa, showed deep emotional range, balancing strength with insecurity. Even Hugh Jackman took Wolverine from a brutal fighter to a tragic figure in Logan, and then showed his versatility in musicals and dramas. By contrast, The Rock rarely takes risks. His movies are predictable, designed to reinforce his public persona rather than challenge it. Audiences go in knowing exactly what to expect, and they get it every time. Action, humor, and heroic confidence. This makes his films safe entertainment, but weak art. Instead of disappearing into characters, he repeats himself, and the lack of variety becomes impossible to ignore. That is why critics argue that Johnson is not a great actor, but a marketable product, relying on typecasting and repetition rather than genuine range or transformation.
Another major reason critics call The Rock overrated is his very limited emotional range as an actor. While his physical presence and charisma are undeniable, these qualities are not enough to carry every role. Acting is about transformation, the ability to make audiences believe they're watching a completely different person with unique struggles, fears, and emotions. In Johnson's case, no matter the project, his emotional performance rarely extends beyond a few predictable notes, confident, determined, and lightly humorous. When compared to other action stars who manage to balance strength with vulnerability, Johnson falls short. Arnold Schwarzenegger, despite limited acting skills early in his career, created surprising emotional impact in Terminator 2, where his robotic character learned compassion. Sylvester Stallone gave Rocky Balboa genuine vulnerability, showing doubt, pain, and weakness alongside triumph. Hugh Jackman took Wolverine, a gruff anti-hero, and turned him into a tragic, layered character in Logan. These actors prove that even action stars can reach emotional depth. The Rock, however, tends to avoid such roles. His films rarely show him as fragile, conflicted, or broken. Even when the script allows for emotional beats, such as reuniting with family in San Andreas or showing inner struggle in Black Adam, his performances feel flat and surface level. Instead of pulling the audience into raw emotion, he often delivers safe, polished expressions that align with his public persona as a motivational figure. This may maintain his brand as larger than life, but it robs his characters of humanity. Audiences notice this gap. While his films can be fun blockbusters, they rarely leave viewers reflecting on his performance. People remember the explosions, the action, or his one-liners, not the emotional journey of his characters. That is the hallmark of limited range. For all his box office power, The Rock has yet to prove he can move audiences on a deeper level. And until he does, it will remain clear that his acting, while entertaining, is overrated.
Another major reason The Rock is considered overrated is the way his entire career depends on his star power rather than on the strength of the characters he plays or the quality of his performances. In modern Hollywood, Johnson has become less of an actor and more of a brand. Studios don't hire him because they believe he will transform into a role. They hire him because his name on a poster guarantees attention, ticket sales, and social media buzz. His personality, reputation, and media presence often matter more than the script itself. This creates a cycle where films are built around Johnson rather than Johnson adapting to the story. Instead of disappearing into a character, the character is reshaped to fit his public image. The strong, charismatic leader who never truly loses, never looks weak, and always walks away as a winner. That's why so many of his roles blur together. They don't feel like distinct individuals. They feel like extensions of Dwayne Johnson himself. Audiences end up watching The Rock no matter what the film is supposed to be about. Relying so heavily on his star power also hurts the quality of his movies. Studios become more focused on marketing than on writing or directing. Projects like Black Adam were sold almost entirely on Johnson's charisma and promises of revolutionizing the superhero genre. Yet when the film finally arrived, it was criticized for weak storytelling and a generic performance. Without The Rock's name, the movie would likely have attracted far less attention and perhaps even been judged more harshly. True actors are remembered for iconic roles that stand apart from their personal brand. When people think of Christian Bale, they see Batman or Patrick Bateman. When they think of Daniel Radcliffe, they see Harry Potter. But when people think of The Rock, they don't recall a legendary character, they recall Dwayne Johnson, the entertainer, the brand, the Instagram motivator. His fame overshadows everything else. In the end, over-reliance on star power proves why Johnson's acting career is often overrated. He sells tickets, but he rarely convinces audiences that they are watching a unique character. The spectacle of his celebrity masks the lack of depth in his acting, making him a reliable box office draw, but a weak artistic performer.
The Rock's popularity has always come from his charisma, energy, and action hero persona. But when he tries to step into more dramatic or serious roles, his limitations as an actor become painfully obvious. In action comedy blockbusters, his charm is enough to carry the movie. But in moments that require genuine depth, grief, rage, heartbreak, or moral conflict, his performances often feel flat and unconvincing. Take films like San Andreas or Skyscraper. Both movies gave him opportunities to show vulnerability, a father desperate to save his family, a man pushed beyond his limits. Yet, instead of raw emotion, audiences received the same polished, heroic face he uses in every role. The characters never felt truly human. They felt like extensions of his wrestling persona, larger than life and always in control, even when the script demanded fragility. Even Black Adam, which was marketed as a darker, more serious turn, highlighted the problem. Instead of a layered anti-hero wrestling with morality, audiences got another stoic, stone-faced powerhouse. The performance lacked nuance and emotional weight, leaving critics unimpressed. What should have been a career-defining moment turned into yet another generic role that blurred into the rest of his filmography. The reason is simple. Johnson avoids playing characters who fail, who break, or who lose control. But great acting often lives in those spaces. Vulnerability and imperfection make characters memorable because audiences can connect to them on a human level. When Stallone cried as Rocky, or when Hugh Jackman let Wolverine face death in Logan, viewers felt something real. With The Rock, those moments rarely arrive. He plays it safe, and the result is bland. In the end, his attempts at serious roles show why many consider him overrated. His range is limited, and when stripped of action, comedy, and spectacle, there's little left to hold the audience's attention.
A true test of an actor's ability is their versatility, how well they adapt across different genres and roles. Many of the most respected actors can shift seamlessly between action, comedy, drama, romance, and even musicals. They are not limited to one archetype, but continually surprise audiences with new sides of their talent. Unfortunately, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson struggles here more than almost any major star of his generation. His entire career has been built around action and light comedy, but beyond those lanes, he shows little ability to stretch himself. In action-heavy blockbusters, Johnson can shine because he leans on his charisma, imposing physique, and comedic timing. In lighter comedies like Jumanji, his natural charm helps deliver laughs, especially when playing against type in body swap scenarios. But when films require nuance, subtlety, or vulnerability, his performances quickly fall flat.
Unlike actors such as Hugh Jackman, who can move from superhero to musical drama, or Christian Bale, who reinvents himself physically and emotionally for each role, Johnson rarely attempts to leave his comfort zone. The problem is not only that he struggles outside action and comedy, but that he actively avoids risk. He has never taken a true dramatic role, never embraced a complex villain, never tried something as unconventional as stage performance or art house film. His brand depends on being larger than life, always heroic, always likable, always in control. That leaves little room for variety. As a result, audiences feel they are watching the same film over and over, only with different titles. Versatility is what creates longevity in an acting career. Stars who cannot adapt eventually fade because audiences grow tired of repetition. Johnson may still be a box office draw today, but without diversity in his roles, his legacy risks being shallow, remembered for spectacle rather than for true artistry. This limited versatility is one of the clearest reasons why many critics believe he is overrated. Another problem that makes The Rock overrated is the way his off-screen persona overshadows every role he plays. Dwayne Johnson isn't just an actor, he's a brand. He's on Instagram every day, sharing workout routines, motivational speeches, tequila promotions, and behind-the-scenes glimpses of his projects. While this helps him remain relevant and loved by millions of followers, it also makes it nearly impossible for audiences to separate The Rock, the celebrity, from The Rock, the character. Whenever he appears on screen, viewers are not fully seeing the role. They are seeing the same charismatic, smiling, larger-than-life figure they just watched selling energy drinks or telling people to grind harder on social media. This overexposure creates fatigue. Johnson has so many projects, films, TV shows, commercials, business ventures, that his image feels unavoidable. Unlike actors who protect their mystery by carefully choosing roles and limiting their media presence, The Rock constantly reinforces his own persona. As a result, when he steps into a movie, the audience doesn't experience immersion. Instead of losing themselves in a new world, they are reminded of his brand, the bodybuilder turned Hollywood megastar. The irony is that this media dominance, which made him a global icon, also limits his artistic credibility. His acting is locked inside the boundaries of his public image. He cannot play truly flawed or dark characters because it would clash with the motivational, family-friendly persona he's built outside of film. His social media empire, his public appearances, and his personal branding strategies all feed into his acting career, but they also cage it. In the end, Johnson's constant visibility has turned him into a personality more than a performer. His media presence ensures people know who he is, but it also means audiences rarely see anyone else when he's on screen. They don't see a character. They see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This level of overexposure reduces his credibility as an actor and contributes to the argument that he is one of the most overrated stars in Hollywood. A major reason The Rock is labeled overrated is the gap between the financial success of many of his films and their actual artistic quality. On paper, Johnson is one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. His movies regularly open at #1, earn hundreds of millions worldwide, and dominate streaming platforms. Studios love him because he guarantees attention and ticket sales. But box office success doesn't always equal good filmmaking, and in The Rock's case, it often highlights how his popularity is carried by spectacle and marketing rather than strong performances or storytelling. Consider blockbusters like San Andreas, Rampage, or Skyscraper. All performed relatively well financially, yet they were critically panned for weak scripts, generic characters, and forgettable plots. Audiences didn't leave theaters talking about Johnson's acting or the depth of the story.
They left remembering the destruction, the CGI monsters, or the massive stunts. The Rock's name may bring people to the theater, but once inside, the quality of the film rarely lives up to the hype. The most telling example is Black Adam, marketed heavily as Johnson's passion project and a new era for the DC Universe. The film had years of build-up and promotion. Johnson himself promised it would change the hierarchy of power in superhero films. Yet when it finally released, it received lukewarm reviews and underperformed financially compared to expectations. For a movie positioned as his defining role, the result was disappointing and proved that even Johnson's star power has limits when the quality isn't there. This pattern shows why Johnson is seen as overrated. His box office draw creates the illusion of greatness, but critical reception consistently exposes how shallow his projects are. Unlike actors who balance commercial success with memorable, high-quality performances, The Rock leans heavily on marketing and scale. He proves that popularity can sell tickets, but it cannot mask weak acting and mediocre storytelling forever.
To understand why The Rock is overrated, it helps to compare him with other legendary action stars. Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example, built his career not only on his physique, but also on roles that became iconic. The Terminator franchise gave him a character that evolved from terrifying villain to tragic hero, proving that even a limited actor could deliver emotional impact. Sylvester Stallone, meanwhile, created two of the most enduring characters in cinema history, Rocky Balboa and John Rambo. Both roles combined action with vulnerability, showing strength but also deep human struggle. These characters are still referenced decades later because they resonated with audiences on an emotional level. Even more modern actors like Hugh Jackman and Keanu Reeves demonstrate the balance between spectacle and depth. Jackman's Wolverine wasn't just a superhero. He became a symbol of pain, redemption, and sacrifice, culminating in the masterpiece Logan. Reeves, though often criticized for stiffness, redefined his career with John Wick, a role that blended action, style, and emotional motivation in a way that connected strongly with fans. When compared to these figures, The Rock falls short. Despite his fame and countless blockbusters, he has no truly iconic character that defines him. Audiences don't look back and say, "Remember that role Johnson played?" They just remember him. His characters blur together, and none have entered cinematic history the way Rocky, Terminator, or Wolverine did. This lack of a career-defining role is striking for someone who has been in Hollywood for over 2 decades. The difference is clear. Great action stars manage to elevate their characters into legends, while The Rock relies on his own brand. That reliance may keep him relevant in the short term, but it prevents him from ever achieving the same timeless status as the stars who came before him.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is undeniably one of the most famous entertainers in the world. His charisma, physical presence, and relentless work ethic have made him a household name, and his films consistently draw large audiences. Yet, fame and popularity are not the same as artistic talent, and this is where the gap becomes impossible to ignore. When we look at his body of work, the same problems appear again and again: repetition of roles, limited emotional range, over-reliance on his personal brand, and a lack of truly iconic performances that stand the test of time. Unlike action stars of the past who left behind legendary characters, Johnson's career feels like an endless cycle of The Rock playing himself. His movies may earn money, but few of them leave a lasting impact on cinema or storytelling.
even his most hyped projects, like Black Adam, failed to deliver the transformation he promised, instead reinforcing the idea that he is more of a celebrity product than a versatile actor. None of this diminishes his accomplishments as a businessman, entertainer, or motivator. Johnson has built an empire and inspires millions with his story of hard work and persistence. But as an actor, he remains overrated. His brand is bigger than his performances, and his characters are overshadowed by the persona he projects off-screen. For an actor to be truly great, audiences must forget the person and believe in the character. With The Rock, that rarely happens. In the end, The Rock's legacy may not be about redefining acting, but about redefining celebrity in Hollywood. He proves that star power and marketing can create enormous success, but also that success does not equal artistry. He is a symbol of modern blockbuster culture, big, loud, entertaining, but shallow. And that is why, despite his popularity, The Rock is one of the most overrated actors working today.